Good morning نيوكاسل. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. أهلا بكم في نيوكاسل مع وليد. Sorry we are a few minutes late, but apparently our co-pilots just wake up. Hi Chris.
Hello. Assalamu alaikum. Sabah khair.
صباح النور. So did you have your coffee yet or no?
No, that's right.
right. عندنا اليوم مجموعة من كالعادة الأخبار الصحفية. عندنا اليوم كريغ هوب, كريس وولف, ولي ريدر first maybe or second time, كرونيكل, أثليتيك, والديلي ميل, وأيضا صحيفة المناطق أيضا, وأيضا لسه خبر برضو من الرياضية, جريدة الرياضية ما بدأنا نحطه في الصورة. So Chris, before we start on the articles,
Yes.
The game is on. No best one.
Yes. As far as I know, Brendan Rodgers said yes, it's on. I mean, it is tomorrow, so there could be developments today, but it's as of today, it's
so far. طبعا المباراة قد يعني في أخبار إنه ممكن تتأجل, لكن إلى هذه اللحظة المباراة قائمة إن شاء الله بكرة الساعة 5 بتوقيت السعودية. So which journalist we're gonna start today, Chris?
Chris Wolf.
Chris Wolf. Okay. This is the article of Chris Wolf from Athletics.
Yes.
Yeah. Machine Joelinton, liberated as Brazilian, is perfectly suited to house style.
This is a really fantastic article from Chris Wolf of The Athletic. It really goes in depth into the transformation that we've seen in Joelinton, and very impressive. I mean, he talks about how Joelinton, even under Steve Bruce, hired a performance coach that would analyze all his games and would send him personalized feedback, which of course we know under Bruce he was never getting from Bruce. Bruce would just, say throw the ball there and go at it. So he was getting personalized feedback on what he needed to improve. And then he would especially under Eddie Howe now, he would come back and he would know himself and report back to the club what he's working on to improve. So he was working with a performance coach in addition to the new coaching staff. And it really talks about how Eddie Howe has seen potential in Joelinton, which I think we never really saw under the previous regime. Even though, as we famously know, he got a start every game, and we wondered why was he starting. And that's the one thing the article doesn't explain is how did, even if he wasn't performing, how did he get a start in every game that Steve Bruce had? But anyways, it's just a fantastic article, and you really get to see kind of Joelinton as a person, and that he's really trying, and none of this stuff about he just takes plays off. It's like that. He was really trying, and I think the whole sort of weight of being the Newcastle number 9, being the record signing, all those things weighed on him. So now that he's number 7, he's not the focal point of the offense because we have Callum Wilson. I think all of these factors mean that he's liberated to thrive as a holding midfielder, attacking midfielder, and not having to play center forward, which he was never a center forward or a striker.
Chris, do you think now he play as number 10?
I think they're kind of experimenting with that. They keep saying central defensive midfielder, but I always, could be wrong. I always thought that's how I would describe Shelby, as kind of a central defensive midfielder. But maybe they have different ideas. I think it's sort of like I think of like not as a flat back. As a flat midfield, but like as a diamond, and I sort of see him as kind of like that.
I am asking you this because in transfer window, do you think maybe we'll get a player to do this assignment of Joelinton? Maybe someone in his position.
Well, I think we hear a lot about building through the spine, so we need center backs. We need.
I know, Chris, but
I think we need a central midfielder. Yes, I don't think Joe Linton is the ball playing.
Yes, imagine if you get Coutinho, for example, and he will play. Do you think Joe Linton will play?
I don't see Joe Linton and Coutinho playing the same position. I see Coutinho as more of a forward. He would play like in like a front three or something. Whereas I don't see Joe Linton. Joe Linton is definitely not a number one striker or a number two striker.
Okay.
At the most, he plays in the front three with Saint-Maximin and Wilson. But I see him being more of like a number 8, kind of like tucked in just behind the striker. But that's the issue. There is we have 2 other players that plan to play that position. Like we have Almiron, which I've told you I think we should get rid of Almiron, if not this window in the summer, and then Fraser. So we have all these guys who play the number 8 position. So I don't think he's a number 10. I think he's more of like a number 8.
طبعا هذا الارتكل من كريس من الاتلتيك يتكلم على تحول يعني على المهاجم جيلينتون. طبعا انا شخصيا تحسن جيلينتون، بس ما اشوف انه هذا التحسن اللي يعني كل هذا المديح اللي اشوفه جيلينتون، هذا مجرد راي شخصي. عموما المقال يتكلم عن التحول الكبير لجيلينتون مقارنه بايامه مع ستيف بروس. عمل على التطوير، يعني يقول لك انه ايدي هاو عمل على تطوير الاداء لجيلينتون. Do you think Chris Joelinton it's Eddie Howe himself, or they have in the crew they have someone to improve the style or the performance of a player, another coach in the crew of his team?
This guy is not part of the Newcastle staff. He's Joe Linton's personal coach.
Oh, okay.
He speaks, he's Portuguese or Brazilian.
But he was there since Steve Bruce.
No, in the last year.
طيب هذا مدرب خاص اصلا مع جولينتون، يعني مدرب خاص، مدرب شخصي يختلف عن النادي. لكن انا برضو I believe يعني ايدي هاو he have his hand in this. طبعا اعتقد يعني صح انه ساعد اكيد المدرب الشخصي، لكن التطور اللي احنا نشوفه الان حاليا بعد قدوم ايدي هاو على الاغلب انه تكتيكيا ايدي هاو اذا ولايقيا ايضا. طبعا الحين يتكلمون برضو انه جيلينتون اصبح اساسي. لاعب يحاول، واجه ضغوط سابقا خصوصا موضوع الرقم 9 لما كان الموسم الماضي او يعني بدايه الموسم الماضي رقم 9 قالوا انه ما ينفع يكون رقم 9. تعرف رقم 9 رقم كبير يعني في كرة قدم، خصوصا في نيوكاسل انه عندهم رقم 9 يعني هداف، 9 يعني تجيب اهداف. فعشان كذا تم يعني اعطوا يعني ويلسون رقم 9 وهو اخذ رقم 7. هذا كان تقريبا المقالة حقت كريس ووف من الأثلتيك. What next, mate?
All right. Let's see. Next we have
Craig Hope and 2 articles, and we have Lee Raider 2 articles. So what journalist? Craig Hope. Okay, Craig Hope من الديلي ميل. طبعا we have 2. Which one you want to start with?
Oh, from Craig Hope?
Yeah, we have 2. Which one you want to start?
Okay, let me look at the
Okay, exclusive. Newcastle United hire a specialist recruitment firm to find their new director of football with the club, set to appoint a short-term transfer advisor for the key January window.
Yes, okay. So, basically, every week, every show, people ask Newcastle shows, what about the director of football? We thought that Emanalo was our top choice, but
yes,
apparently he wasn't. And we saw in the last week that another paper put out an article saying that he turned down the director of football role, and then Mehrdad Qudusi, husband of Amanda Staveley and one of the two owners that's running the club as a management now, quickly put out a tweet and said Michael Emanalo was never offered director of football or sporting director, which are two I don't know. I'm not calling the guy a troll, but I don't know why he keeps asking about Sports Direct. Because
that was good. So Chris answer this enough. So please continue.
So he shut down this article that was proposing that that we had been turned down by our top choice for sporting director of football. And then the guy who wrote the original article came back and said, "Oh no, he wasn't offered. It wasn't the director of football role he was offered. He was offered an advisory role to the board with an eye towards becoming director of football, and that's what he turned down." So I don't know. I mean, we don't need Mehrdad to keep knocking down the story, but it was a little. It's a little strange.
What happened? What happened? Do you think?
Change his story. Like if he originally said, "Oh, there was an advisor role toward eventually becoming director of football," and that's what he turned down. But he didn't say that. His original article said he was offered and turned down director of football, which is, according to Mehrdad, wrong.
طبعا يتكلمون على يعني خبر من كريغ هوب. طبعا كريغ هوب يعني من احد الصحفيين الموثوقين، يعني يتكلم على موضوع ايمينالو وانه يعني اللخبطه اللي صارت بخصوص انه هل تم يعني انه في صحفي مشترك ويعتقدون انه صديق لايمينالو، يعني كان لانه هو الصحفي الوحيد اللي دائما ينقل اخبار ايمينالو، هذا اللي فهمناه. انه يعني ايمينالو رفض عرض من نيوكاسل. شفنا احنا بعدين مهرداد قدوزي شريك بي سي بي والصندوق في نيوكاسل يونايتد قال انه لم يعرض عليه اصلا هذا المنصب عشان يرفضه. طبعا مع انه يعني برضو اشاعات تتكلم انه تم مقابلته، يعني تم عمل معه مقابله. عموما بعدين جاء الصحفي لما بعد النفي حق مرداد، جاء الصحفي قال لا انه هو يعني حاولوا ياخذون ويعطون كثير من لا، هو نقصد حنا انه رفض المسمى المستشار. يعني ما حد علق على هذا الكلام، بس انه يعني موضوع واضح انه بس لمجرد يعني يسمونها الكليك بيت اكثر من انها خبر صحيح. Before we going to next article,
Chris, because I haven't even explained the article yet. I just explained the background to this article.
Okay. So go on.
This article itself says that because we don't have a director of football, we've hired an outside firm to like a headhunter. I don't know if you say that. Don't know if you use that word in Saudi, but like we've hired a search firm like to help us find this director of football, and that anyone, because we're concerned. We're like, we have Eddie Howe who knows who he wants to bring in, but we don't have anyone between Eddie Howe and the ownership. So people were wondering like, who has the final say on which players? Because it probably is not Eddie Howe, because he's the head coach and not the manager. Rafa was the manager, so in a sense he had the final say. But in this case, we believe that Eddie Howe will take a list of players to the manager, to the board, and say, can we get these players? And then they'll come back and say, yes, we can get these three, but not this fourth. Whereas I think under Steve Bruce, like Steve Bruce would be presented with, okay, we're going to buy Joe Linton, St. Maximin. How's that? And you don't have a choice. I think he did push for Wilson, and he did push for Willick, but those are the two players that he really brought in. Every other player was sort of brought in above him. Whereas in this case, we believe that Eddie Howe, when he was interviewing, had a list of players that he thought would improve the club. So we believe that they'll probably start with that list. We still have the chief scout, Steve Nixon, looking to scout players with his team. And the team is back from during Mike Ashley's COVID experience. He had most of the recruiters were out on furlough, which means that they were being paid not to work by the government. So so taxpayers in the UK were paying Newcastle scouts not to work. But now, since Mike Ashley's gone, the full scouting network is back under Steve Nixon, reporting up to the board. And then, but I think we're going to start with the players that Eddie Howe is looking to bring in.
Regarding the company or the headhunter, you say,
yeah,
they did the same with Eddie Howe, I believe, because I remember Amanda interviewed it. She said something about that he scored a lot in tests. So is it similar?
No,
standard? No, different?
No. This would be like Newcastle coming to you and me if we ran a company. If we know coaches, Newcastle like hiring us, Alwaleed and Chris, to like a firm. If we're the firm of Alwaleed and Chris to go look for a new coach. So it's like it's basically saying that Amanda and Mayor Dad and Jamie and of course Yasser Ramayan, they have a lot of things that they need to work on. Probably they're looking for a CEO of the club, a president. So they have other priorities, and so like they need to run the club and have somebody else look for the director of football. So the search form is like, we have this term outsource, which means like you pay somebody outside to do the work for you.
Yeah, I understand this concept, but do you think it's makes sense, or is it real, or this is just?
It's a little. I was honestly, my first reaction when I saw this story, if you want my gut reaction, was, well, if this was if they're doing this now, why didn't they do this in October? You know,
yes,
we are like 2 months on, almost 2 months on from the takeover.
And for example, Jimmy Robin, he's have a lot of experience in sport management. And how come he doesn't know many names or the appropriate ones?
I don't know. So it seems, honestly, it seems a little bit like they don't know what they're doing. I mean, I have full faith in this ownership group, and I think that they're the best thing we can. We're so glad.
But Craig Hope, his credibility is high, I believe.
What is this guy? Sanjeev is still going on. Okay, so I don't know.
Credibility of Craig Hope.
Credibility is high. Yeah, and no, I think if he does it is. So my thing for the owners would be like, if they had done this 2 months ago, said we've taken over and now we've started a search for the director of football. They announced that, because this hasn't been announced by the club, but let's take this as what the club is doing. I think no one would have been disappointed in taking a time, because it says it take 2 months. So I don't think anyone back in October would have said would have objected to saying we are hiring an outside search firm. The search could take 2 months, but we'll find a director of football. So the question is, what have they been doing for the last 2 months on the director of football? Because all we heard is Emanalo. There's another name, Michael Edwards, which he is leaving Liverpool at the end of the season, probably for like Barcelona. But I guess maybe this increases the chances that they go for somebody like Michael Edwards, who is currently still at Liverpool, but leaving.
So do you think this is true? And for me, I don't know. I'm not really. I think it's maybe just for maybe after the incident with Eminalo, this is just to maybe.
This is a cover story, PR.
You could feel like that something.
Yeah,
I don't know. That's crazy. It could be
because my gut reaction when I saw this was like, you're announcing this now, or like this is coming out now. I mean, maybe he had the timing wrong, and it was going on along all the way, and maybe the search firm was the one that said no, Emanalo. We talked to Emanalo, but we don't want him, because there clearly were talks with Emanalo.
Right.
I don't know if any of your Saudi sources confirmed that he was actually in Saudi, but that's what they were reporting here, is that he held talks with PIF in Riyadh. I don't know.
Yeah, we hear this as well, but
okay,
we're not sure. And most the source was from UK about that. So طبعا هذه مقالة من كريغ هوب ديلي ميل، يقول لك انه النادي راح يعين في شركة خاصة عشان تختار المانجر دايركتور، يعني سبورت دايركتور، مع انه المصداقية عالية، يعني يفترض لي هذا الصحفي، لكن احنا الخبر هذا شوي متلخبط، نحس انه في شيء غريب في الموضوع، لانه مو منطقي، لانه الان تم اعلان ذلك يعني من اكتوبر، يعني توهم يعلنون انه في شركة. يعني قد يبدو انها اشاعة، او مثلا واحد قال الخبر هذا بس ما هو يعني maybe Craig Hobb heard it from a trusted source but it isn't true.
Maybe it's not true.
Huh?
From the ball. he said it's not a player.
Yeah.
So
عرف عن كريغ هوب. عرف عن كريغ هوب عرف عنه انه عنده يعني شخص يعني يوصل له معلومات في النادي. هذا الكلام من ايام بروس، عاد ما نعرف انه يعني is this mall still there or not, but we didn't think it's still there anyway. يعني ما نعتقد انه يعني الخبر يبدو انه صحيح، لانه احنا نعرف انه جيمي روبن مثلا خبير في وادار انديه رينجرز وكوينز بارك رينجر، عنده يعني خبره كرويه كثيره، يعني فما نعتقد انه يعني انه يحتاج هذا الشيء. ممكن يكون عامل مساعد، maybe it's some factor, help factor, maybe they are busy, Christopher, and this is just for help to get names, maybe, because يعني Europe and the world يعني too many clubs, and who knows, maybe just for filtering the CV، ممكن عشان فلترة السيفيهات حقت المدراء الرياضيين، يعني معامل مساعد ما يمنع هذا الشيء، يعني متوقعين. يعني خبر شوي غريب، لكن قد يكون في جانب من الصحة. next one same journalist، نفس الصحفي كريغ هوب.
Yes, so this is going to actually go with some of my articles later. There'll be a theme here, but Eddie Howe is saying that your priority is the team, and number 2 priority is COVID health. So he is canceling the Christmas party because he knows that, as everyone knows, that our next 4 matches against Manchester City, Liverpool, after tomorrow, the next 4 matches: Manchester City, Liverpool,
Manchester United. Everton.
It's going to be the most difficult stretch of the year, and if we win tomorrow, we will be I think on points tied to be 17th. So we will be out of the relegation on goal difference, I think.
Chris, he canceled the club celebration.
Yes. This is he's not saying like the players need to quarantine, and I'm sure we've seen all these great photos, like the photos are the players are mates outside of the club, especially the Bournemouth lads. We've definitely seen a lot of photos of Callum Wilson and Matt Ritchie and Ryan Fraser, they tend to hang out together, which is cool.
يا طبعا هذا خبر هذا يعني يخص النادي، انه طبعا احد في المؤتمر ذكر السيد إيدي هاو انه احتفاليه السنه هذه للكريسماس واعياد السنه عاده يسوونها يعني نادي كل سنه، لكن هالمره راح نلغيها لان احنا في وضع صعب، ما نبغى يعني ما هو وقته نحتفل، احنا نبغى نركز، عندنا مباريات صعبه في هذه الفتره مع ليفربول، طبعا بعد مباراه بكره في ليفربول، مانشستر سيتي، مانشستر يونايتد، ايفرتون، مباريات صعبه، مع يعني بيأجلون الاحتفال، او يعني يمكن يعني احتفلوا لحالكم، يعني مش ما في احتفال النادي اللي يسوونه كل سنه.
I think this, you have to say, this also is going to be a difficult time for Eddie Howe himself, because again, you know, he's living maybe in a hotel in Newcastle, and his family is still down in on the south coast, as we say, maybe not in Bournemouth.
But why he's still in a hotel?
Because Alwaleed, as you'll know, I'm not married, but you are. You know that your wife has a strong decision on
okay.
on your house.
Okay.
So he said when he was hired that maybe after Christmas, when his family moves up, that they'll look at a new house.
طبعا إيدي هاو الآن طبعا صعب عليه الوضع، لأنه الحين يقيم في فندق، فعائلته راح تجي بعد الكريسماس وأعياد السنة. فسألت كريس طيب ليش جالس في فندق يعني إيدي هاو؟ قال تعرف يعني أنت يعني عادة مثلا يكون الزوجة مثلا هي تبغى تجي وتشوف المكان وكذا يعني. طيب يا كريس نروح now your friendly reader, our friendly reader.
Good old Lee. Hello,
Yeah.
Lee.
From Chronicle Life.
That's a better photo because I'm more used to his post game reports where he's like talking directly into the camera, so his head is filling up the whole screen. I don't know if you when you left the Brighton game whether you saw him doing his.
I saw him actually. I saw him quickly.
Okay. So this is about Sean Longstaff, but I'm going to take host privilege and make this about Sean and Maddie Longstaff, because I think that they're not just brothers, but their situations are related. So Sean Longstaff is
they are not brother.
No, they are brothers, but I'm saying they're not just brothers, but they're teammates. Like their situation is linked. They're always going to be linked together. So Sean Longstaff is in the last 6 months of his contract. And of course, this is the time when you either decide to sign a new contract, or either side walks away. So the question is Sean Longstaff part of the long-term plans of Eddie Howe? In this article, Lee Ryder would suggest yes, he is part of the plans of long-term plans of Newcastle. So Eddie Howe wants Sean Longstaff to sign a new contract. Say, look, we believe in you. We want you to commit to long-term Newcastle, and we're showing our long-term commitment to you by offering you this contract. You know, as we've seen with players like Dwight Gale, he signed a long-term contract and he hasn't played. So the long-term contract could be sort of a ploy to make him more marketable to other clubs, but he could be on a higher wage than if he was transferred out. But anyways, Eddie Howe wants him to sign a new contract. I think he's unsure about it. His brother, who's on loan up in Scotland, is not getting playing time. I think Aberdeen or something.
Aberdeen, yeah.
Yeah. So Eddie Howe is interested in him and wants him to maybe come back to the club. I don't know if that means come back and do another loan, but he doesn't want him wasting away on the bench up at Aberdeen. He knows that he's young and needs to play. So I don't know. I don't know if that means that he's going to play at Newcastle, but it means that he'll be given a chance. He's not been given at Aberdeen. So I think of the two players, you'd probably rather have Matty Longstaff. Sean Longstaff was very great when he started out, but then he got injured, and he has not been the same player since he got injured.
Yes.
And you'd expect long term that most of the players of Newcastle will be gone. Maybe everyone, but let's say Dubravka and Wilson, because as you saw on other shows recent days, some people would our friend Martin is very adamant that if we don't see improvement from ASM on scoring, that we should sell him and get what we can get for ASM. But anyways, you would know kind of like the only person that's really safe on the club is Wilson, but everyone else could possibly be sold, even Dubravka. But I would say Dubravka and Wilson are our keepers, and then we build around them.
Well, yeah, you are right, Chris, but I don't think they are gonna, maybe some names you can easily let them go, because it's seen that they be, especially the one who never played, even now
Hendrick.
played.
Jack Hendrick, halas.
Yes, Chief Hendrick, Dwight Gale. They're not playing. They're not playing now. So I don't think.
Gale.
Well, I told my story about Gale many times before, and maybe once again later. طبعا هذا المقال يتكلم عن الاخوين ستاف، شون ستاف وماتي لونج ستاف. طبعا شون ستاف لاعب كان كلنا نعرفه، كان لاعب ممتاز في المحور. جاء عرض من مانشستر يونايتد في فترة سابقة مبلغ كبير، لكن ظروف تم حصلت له إصابة. بعدين العودة بعد الإصابة ما كانت ما رجع اللاعب اللي كان مثل قبل. برضو للأسف هذه برضو نقطة، لما لاعب يصاب ويبغى يرجع يحتاج وقت عشان يرجع، وهو الوقت هذا ما كان ياخذه حتى، ما كان يلعب مباريات كثيرة إلا إذا اضطر الفريق. حتى أخوه مات سافلي غريبة، لعب مباريات جميله. even Matty Longstaff, Chris, he played good game. I remember last Christmas against Liverpool he did great, but I don't know, لعب مباراه جميله امام ليفربول لكن ما نعرف. yes and الحين هو راح يلعب في ابردين في اسكتلندا. what's that?
He's been bruised since then.
بروست هذا كلمه احنا نقولها انه اي واحد تورط مع ستيف بروست نقول انه بروست. طبعا يلعب الحين في ابردين الاسكتلندي اعاره، فاحنا نعرف انه السيتويشن حقهم انهم مع بعض اخوان، هل بيجلسون ما بيجلسون. هذا الحين موضوع ايدي هاو راح يقرر مصير اللاعبين بشكل كبير. Bruce, as you said, Chris. Anyway, hope for me personally, Chris, do you want them to stay or leave? Personally,
they can both go. Brutal.
You're worse than Steve Bruce, Chris.
I flew for Matty Longstaff's last goal against Man United. I was at the game, and I'm showing you the photos where he and Andy Carroll celebrate right in front of me. So I was there for his greatest moment, and I don't think anything he'll do at the club will ever top that. So let him go.
So okay. They are not being Bruce, they are being Christophers.
Sheikh Christopher says.
Christopher says halas.
Okay, so
last article from your side.
To sort of end on a depressing note, that COVID is back in the club's concerns, and basically to know that if you have a ticket to the match, it's not guaranteed, but like some of the other leagues, but you are subject to prove that you have 2 vaccinations, that you've recently are tested negative. And if you can't prove either, it looks like you won't be let in.
Recently, by how many days?
If you don't prove that you're vaccinated, I think you have to show a test that you've tested negative in the last 72 hours.
Oh, it's like you're traveling.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So hopefully, everyone's. I mean, we've been dealing with this, ever since the who is it? The Sheffield United game last season. That since we've been back in the stadium, there's been the idea that people coming into the grounds need to be vaccinated or prove a negative test. So I don't think this is coming as any surprise. Just the question of, on the Three Amigos show, they were all quizzing each other, like, had you actually been asked? And I think Steve Wraith had been asked, but none of but Steve Hasty had never been asked by any club official, cricket official, whether he'd been tested or not.
هذه المقالة تتكلم عن انه الان بدأت الحكومة تنصح تنصح نيوكاسل انه يطبقون البلان بي، يعني انه الحين صار موضوع حضور، يعني اذا عندك تذكرة مو معناته انك راح تدخل، يعني لازم تتأكد انه طبعا عندك جرعتين من التطعيم، هذا شيء مفروغ منه. لكن الشيء الجديد انه نبغى دليل على انه الاختبار اللي هو الPCR، انه مثلا ما جاء كورونا في الفتره الاخيره. طبعا انا سالت كريس يقول 3 ايام، يعني صار زي اجراءات السفر، فالله يستر على الجميع. هذه كانت مقاله لي ريدر من الكرونيكل، طبعا تكلمنا عنه مقالتين. طبعا from Saudi Arabia side it wasn't يعني much as usual. Most what I found is usually translated, but I will have I have one here in المناطق region newspaper.
Yes,
that's my article. I talk about 129th anniversary for Newcastle Club. I talk a lot and also I make special shows with Badr Ma'rifi from Kuwait, old fan, and also Dave and Chris join us on Thursday talking about all history of Newcastle. I talk about the club's trophies and especially the details about the two teams united together and how it started with the cricket club and the names and the playground, a lot of history in Arabic, and I explain it all in the show with Dave and Chris.
Can you bring up Kamal's comment?
Yes, we'll do it.
No, just only that one because I think that's important for our show. But
I will just a second. Okay. Last one from Riyadiyya. I just find something from Riyadiyya newspaper, but the thing is, it's mostly mostly just translated Daily Mail and Mirror newspaper, talking about there is 5 players on Newcastle interested. One of them is El Nini, Egyptian player in Arsenal, but this is maybe we could do it another time. You didn't think so, huh? El Nini. There is 500.
Those 5 names. I wasn't impressed with any of those 5 names.
Yes.
I don't want any of them.
There is 500 or maybe 1,000 names all linked to Newcastle. It doesn't make sense.
Yes.
So that's why in my account some people ask me why you didn't write about the players come to Newcastle. I said I'm not just doing a clickbait and just names.
No, we're not doing that.
I will not write until I'm really there is truth in it.
This ties into Kamal's question.
Yes. Hello guys. I think we reached the point where any news article regarding NFC turned from frustrating to plain amusing, and to see what next, we just wait official release for proper news.
So my response to that, Kamal, thank you for the comment. There's a tiny bit of part that I agree with you that there's a difference between, I would say there's a difference between clickbait and proper reported articles. If something is coming from the Athletic, especially, and then from Craig Hope, this is why we have introduced repeat reporters on this show, because these are guys that we trust to put out correct stuff, and it's not speculation, but it's informed. That's what reporting is. Reporting is informed information about something that might have not happened yet, but is going to happen based on the reporting. So I don't, respectfully, I disagree. I don't think we should just wait for club announcements like Merdad tweeting about Michael Emenalo, because if we just relied on the official statements, as we saw under Ashley, we had none. And then under this club, we can't expect them to be putting out press releases daily, responding to confirming or denying news reports. It's up to us, and this is the purpose of the show, is to give you trusted journalists who we believe are confident that what they report is accurate. And while it might be speculation, it's informed speculation based on their own sources. So respectfully, we will continue to put out, to comment on articles of things that haven't happened yet, and not just wait for the statements from the club.
طبعا كريس يعني معجب برسالة أو رسالة كمال، إنه طبعا احنا ما نبغى، يعني هدف من هذا البرنامج إنه نجيب الأخبار اللي مصداقيتها عالية. أحيانا مو تكون إنها 100% صحيحة، لكن مصداقيتها عالية. أثبتوا الصحفيين مصداقيتهم فيما سبق، لأنه صحفيين كثير، يعني في صحف أنا ما أبي أسمي أسماء، بس بالذات الميرور مثلا أنا ما أصدق منها شيء. في بعض الصحف والصحفيين بس يبغون يسوون بلبلة ومجرد كليك بيتس، يعني اللي هم يسمونه بس عشان تضغط ويصير انك زرت الصفحه. شفنا احنا الاف الاسماء من اللاعبين، احنا يعني وبنفس الوقت ما راح ننتظر النادي برضو يا كمال يعلق، ما راح ننتظر من النادي انه فقط الرسميه، لا، في ننتظر نشوف الاخبار من مصادر قويه وصحيحه، افضل ما انه بس نشوف اسماء مختلفه. Kamal says, true, I was focusing on a clickbait.
Yeah,
he meant. Yeah.
We will have no clickbait here. This is
yes, exactly.
This is why I rarely have articles from the Chronicle.
Chris, we didn't want to make enemies, Chris. Al Pacino, يقول, he said, I'm enjoying.
Yes.
He's saying, I'm enjoying the broadcast. Thank you, Al Pacino.
Shukran jazilan.
Yes, we have 3 minutes before I pop to another show. So, okay. Chris, tell quickly, Leicester game, do you think we are ready? Do you think we are gonna minimize Leicester because they got COVID? We feel later superior. What do you think we are what's gonna happen?
Oh, even Ben Jacobs is predicting a 2-2 draw. So I'm going to say I've been consistent.
I was afraid
for Stu Penman 3-1. I've been saying 3-1 all week, so I'm not going to change my prediction. 3-1 Newcastle.
Stuart Penman, I think he changed his prediction last time and he got it right. So when he this was article for today. Hope you enjoyed it. For Leicester game, يعني at least يعني we want to win because next 3 games or 4 games going to be much different.
I'm going to make a prediction. You got to make a prediction. Maybe not a score. Will we win? Do we smell a win?
Well, yeah, we can. And it's not, you know, our condition. We are doing better. Leicester doing worse. So, but I hope we are not gonna just, you know, take it for granted. You know,
yes.
We just feel and play strongly. Thank you, Chris. You can continue back to your bed.
Coffee time.
Coffee time.
Yes.
Thank you all. See you next week. Away the lads.
Away the lads.